We went to Washington to meet with our congressional delegation that was hosting an HBCU fly-in, historically black college and university fly-in, for over 88 historically black colleges and universities in the country, that was being sponsored by Senator Tim Scott and Senator Mark Walker. Representative Mark Walker from North Carolina hosted the HBCU fly-in. And then we found out that we had an invite to also visit President Trump at the Oval Office after we arrived at the White House for our meeting with the Vice President, Congressional Delegation, and Secretary of Education. We represent a historically black college that's in its 127th year. And our institution, like so many other, were founded during the time that all of the other institutions were legally segregated. So for the purpose that we continue to serve students who may not have the opportunity to receive education because of maybe their status of being first generation, could be their income, Savannah State still has a major role in providing education to the citizens of this great state and nation. So it's important to be there to receive any opportunities that may come for our institution to help our students. Well, first, it's always good when we all come together. We had an opportunity to talk about those commonalities that we have. And one of the commonalities is our students, many of us, most of us, serve that large number of first-generation students who come from families that depend on the Pell Grant, for example. Close to 90% of the students at Savannah State depend on federal financial aid, with over 80% being the Pell Grant. And the Pell Grant's been cut over the years so that it doesn't provide the resources during the summer. And many of our students need year-round education. And then the changes in the Parent Plus loan has made that when parents who are able to receive a loan, apply for a loan for their child to be able to complete college, they've been denied because of the changes in the Parent Plus loan application process. So we want Congress to look at those areas. So meeting with the Secretary of Education and their staff, meeting with Vice President, the congressional delegation, and other members of the executive administration, it was to help them to understand what are some of the challenges that we face in providing quality education to this large number of students who would not receive this education, many of them, if our institutions did not exist. The opportunity to always go and let your voice be heard. You have an opportunity to speak about the strengths of what we are doing in our institutions and to develop partnerships and to align yourself with those other parts of our institution, with those parts, different branches of government that is going to help our students. Many of our students receive funding by different federal departments: National Science Foundation, National Institute of Health, National Institute of Mental Health, and others, HUD. And we got to meet with the representatives, Department of Defense. So I want my students always to know that you go and you advocate and you ask and you document why this is important, so that in such a way, with such compassion, that everyone understands that we need to be on board with ensuring that there is quality education to every single student in America. We do feel that we were heard. We feel that there is going to be, we heard from a number of our congressional representatives. In fact, our own Senator David Perdue, we had lunch with him as the historically black colleges from Georgia, and he talked about being on the committee that's going to be looking at in Congress with historically black colleges. So we do believe that if there is a congressional committee to look at the need for allocations, when you think of campuses like ours, some are over 150 years old, that there are needs for infrastructure. There's needs for increasing the ability for opportunities for students' capacity. Some of this has to come through Congress. So at this point, the executive order has been signed by the President of the United States. The next step is for Congress to appropriate funds. The Secretary of Education made a number of statements, and one that she did is that she looks forward to partnering with all of our institutions, and that's going to be the statement that I hold true to. I had an opportunity to have a one-on-one with her, and we talked about what choice means for us. And for some of my students, this is their only choice, Savannah State University. And for those students, I want to make sure that we have received all of the resources that we can, that they deserve to have, so they can have a quality education.